I just watched something, a meme or a post. Gosh, it was Dak Prescott, and Dak was like,
This week you guys are riding a high in Cleveland, and then to have today, is this just the way the league goes?
You know, today was an awful game for Cowboys fans to watch. But to be honest with you guys, I'm Dak Prescott, and my agent just swindled Jerry Jones for $250 million. I'm so rich that I really don't care week to week if we win or lose. Everyone knows I've never even made an NFC championship game. And now I'm literally the most overpaid quarterback in NFL history. But my contract is guaranteed, so the outcome doesn't affect me.
and so he's going on, and at first you're like, what? And it got so ridiculous what he was saying. You're like, okay, that's not Dak.
It was AI. The first time we had an effort in our age to rewrite history and rewrite what truth was, and you had a group of people dictating what everybody accepted as truth. At this point now, when it comes to content and ownership of any of that stuff, that's exactly what's happening.
So back to what I was saying.
What's up, friends, family, and fans? Welcome to L.I.F.E Podcast. This is where we listen and inspire friends in entertainment.
And everyone.
That's right, because life happens to everyone, and we see life happen to everyone because everyone's on YouTube, and everyone does their life on YouTube.
Masterful. I'm impressed. Absolutely. And this is true. The personal channel flooding that I have been getting from just people doing random stuff has gone up exponentially over the last 2 years. Yep. And some of it's super cool though. Like it's really awesome to see people who are just hyper talented, who did not have an outlet, who couldn't figure it out, now be able to do it straight from their phones. Now, we've been able to do it for a while now, but YouTube has, I'm not saying they're making it as easy as some of the other platforms, but they're making it easy to organize it than most places. And some of the stuff I get, like from the YouTube algorithm, I have a higher appreciation for it than I do from some of the other social media platforms.
Why?
Just because it's not all random. Like right.
Yeah,
IG and TikTok will throw me stuff that I couldn't care 2 cents about.
The algorithm's so annoying.
Yeah, but YouTube's been doing a good job for me in keeping me kind of in the vein of what I want to see on a day to day. Right.
So they're revamping their TV app. Do you have YouTube TV?
Yes, I do have YouTube TV.
Why did you switch to YouTube TV?
Oh, I didn't switch.
Oh,
I have it.
I mean, what were you watching TV with?
I have so much stuff. That's the thing.
What were you watching TV before
added.
YouTube TV?
Like I've got Pluto.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
it wasn't switched.
It wasn't switched.
I
just added it. It's just another thing I'm paying for.
Do you still have cable?
Not at home. Yeah, I finally did turn that off.
All right, so that's kind of all right. So why? Why do you have YouTube TV app? Period.
The on-demand aspect of it, being able to go to what I want, when I want, and how I want. You still got some access to that on YouTube.
Right. On YouTube TV, I'm talking.
Yes,
yeah, YouTube TV. Yes. I know they have the on-demand option, and the stuff does come up a lot better. It's a part of the whole thing. Yeah, it's a part of it. It is, but you kind of have on-demand. I mean, if you have all these other subscription services anyway, you got on-demand.
True. But like I said, like the organization and how you get to it, it's actually difficult for me to explain it. It's different from app to app. It's not the same. Like if I was to log into, like even between Netflix and YouTube, it's not the same. The way you search for stuff, the search algorithms seem to be more accurate for what if I'm doing a general search,
right?
If I want black comedy.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
On YouTube, I'll get like black comedians and stuff.
Or comedy with Jack Black.
Netflix, I'll get Jack Black.
Right.
And that's the difference in what I'm saying on it. So I've gotten, and it's kind of subconscious now, for what I want to see, I'll go to different apps for different things. But YouTube seems to be targeting me better than some of the other ones.
And I know you're just saying YouTube, but I just want to remind listeners that we are specifically talking about the YouTube TV app, because what a lot of people don't know is that YouTube TV has overtaken Netflix, you know, as far as demand and ranking is concerned, which is a huge deal, to be honest with you. So that being the case, they're taking advantage of that whole momentum right now, and they're revamping a lot of stuff with the app. One of the things that they're going to be doing is they're going to become like a real competitor with, you know, like Disney Plus, Amazon, Netflix, is they're going to allow content creators to create original content as in like series.
Yes.
Now, some people are going to be like, oh, they already do that on YouTube. But this is going to be different because now you're on the YouTube TV app, right? That gives you a different reach, a different market, and all this kind of stuff. So now when someone wants to watch a series, Instead of just going to Netflix and this and that and da-da-da, you can download the YouTube TV app. So I think that's going to be pretty awesome. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it already is. I think just the concept and the idea of it being packaged in where it is. YouTube is taking that, they're kind of taking the Apple approach. When Apple wanted to turn this into your phone, your camera, your iPod, your everything, YouTube TV is really trying to make TV everything in one box.
Right, exactly.
And they're marketing it in a way to where you got your live TV, you can do your DVR, you can watch your sports, you can watch your channels and junk and stuff, but you've also got access to individual content creators, content that shows up as if it were a part of that, your standard TV package.
A good analogy I would put on that would be like an independent artist. We understand major labels aren't what they used to be. So let's go back 10 years. Okay? Okay. For the sake of my analogy.
All right.
Let's go back 10 years. Like if you have an independent artist, that's great. You get to make your own content, make your own music, do your own thing, creative control, all of that stuff. And you can have a significant reach. Let's say you're a very successful independent artist. So you have a significant reach. But then a major picks you up. I mean, we realize, so now your account, your spending, your budgets are a lot bigger. Right. Your reach is a lot further. Sure. Now you got tours. So all your resources expand. That's how I equate what YouTube TV app is doing with this changing and stuff.
I think it's a safe way to do that. Because, I mean, it's, in essence, you have the power of Google behind what you're doing.
There you go. I mean, and the reason why I use that, too, because whereas an independent artist, you were competing, say, against a Rihanna. Once you get signed to, say, the same label as Rihanna, yeah, technically you're still kind of competing here, but now you're amongst her. Right. Now you can collab with her. Now you can whatever it may be, right? Same thing. Now you go from just having this little series on the YouTube app to now you're on YouTube TV where someone can literally watch, like you said, watch sports, watch live programming, and be like, oh, let me check out that new Reggie Koo series. You know what I mean? Or that new L.I.F.E comedy series they came out with, right? A whole nother field, a whole nother playing field. So I think it's going to be amazing.
What's some of the stuff that you think, because I love it when you want to go back 10 years. I wish we could actually do that.
Sometimes, yeah.
It'd be awesome
Sometimes,
if we could.
Yeah, it was a lot lighter.
In order for stuff to be sustainable, I always have concerns, obviously, for how we're going to maintain it and make it a level playing field. But what do you think some of the advantages are actually going to be for the little guy being a part of this bigger package, not just being in the room? There's got to be something specific. That's because, I mean, you can still get drowned in the swath and sea of content. Right. But being on a bigger platform, like what do you think is going to make it?
Well, by allowing, one, your competition is going to go up. Okay. All right. So, for example, one thing with America, what we love about America is the whole free market thing. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it allows for healthy competition. That's why we have anti-monopoly rules and stuff like that. So that way, everyone's not owning everything. A variety of choice. We won't get into that part. but so the same thing here. Granted, not everyone, just because you create the content doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make it on a YouTube TV. So that's one. Okay. All right. So in order for that to happen, there's going to have to be a certain level of quality. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like not anyone can just, well, actually, that's what's happened with the music industry. And look what's happened. So now there are no more quote unquote gatekeepers down. There's no more artist development. There's no quality control. Anybody can put a song out and it's just whitewashed and you're just lost in the sauce. That's not going to happen with YouTube TV, because they have a standard that they have to maintain. So one, it should up the level of competitive quality programming. So that should be very helpful. And if you do that, it offers a new monetization pathway, avenue. And then it's going to change the algorithm as well. So now you're up there. So if people are looking for, like you said earlier, maybe black comedy or something like that, now your stuff can be in the mix with all these other majors and stuff. So I think it can offer a lot of opportunities.
You make me so sick sometimes.
Why is that?
Because I thought you were going to say something else and I can come out and say what you just said. And be like,
well, then go ahead and say what you thought I was going to say.
No, that's I don't know what I thought you were going to say. I was just hoping you weren't going to say what I was thinking. This is one. So when Google systematically started changing what the YouTube platform was, and before YouTube TV became a thing, I saw them strategically making moves to kind of distance themselves from what other on-demand platforms were doing, and even what, like, even that's Hulu TV, even what those apps were doing. And it's almost like they're recreating the gatekeeper thing. Like Netflix got to a point to where they were just spending so much money on stuff and it ballooned so much, but subscribers weren't up there to support all of that, and you saw the content take a hit. Disney's been a little bit more deliberate with how they've managed the content on Hulu with Hulu TV and all that. But YouTube actually seems like it's taking what the cable formats did and not only just making it better with having more on-demand content on the cable platforms, but with raising that bar. It's almost like when they say that everybody can be in the club now, it's almost like we're going to have good content again. I'm actually looking forward to it actually being content that's actually developed to meet the standard of YouTube and Google. And then you'll have the people who say, oh man, I'm on YouTube TV, and everybody else will be like, oh, well, I was able to get my stuff on Netflix, and then Netflix will become like that. It's like,
well, I don't know about that.
iPhone.
I mean, Netflix, I'm sure will make some kind of a pivot.
They will adjust. And I'm not saying the other platforms won't adjust to what YouTube TV is doing, but that's what I was going to say. Is I see it creating more of a filter now for it to be the place to come for not only the content that you want to see for your television, but for the on-demand stuff that you can actually get from the creators who can upload and match to it. It's going to be quality stuff.
Yeah, and the reason why there's a really, really good chance that it'll be quality stuff because you still have the free tier. You still have the YouTube app.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? So now what that may intentionally or unintentionally turn into, where the YouTube app turns into a feeder app.
Yeah, it's the G League.
Into the YouTube TV.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of cool. Like back in the day, I always felt that Zamba and Jive had it right. Zamba was the publishing arm of Jive Records. 9 times out of 10, when Jive was working on a Jive artist, they looked at the Zamba writers and producers first, and they tried to get as much as they can from them. Then they went outside to other writers and producers. I always thought they did that right. Universal and Sony, personally, I was at Sony. Sony never did that right. I used to feel like, oh, well, it's a Sony music project, so at Sony ATV, our writers should at least get a first look.
Nah.
Not at all. Not at all. They had it backwards. But with this, and I don't know if they'll do this intentionally or not, but it'd be great when head of programming at YouTube TV, they're like, well, let's look who's on our YouTube app first, and let's see who we got there, who we can offer licensing deals to them first. That would be a wonderful scenario.
I almost feel like that's exactly what's happening behind the scenes right now. And if it is, it'll force the other platforms to be more stringent in their filtering process.
Stringent and maybe even accessible. Because what I like about YouTube plus YouTube TV is you get to cater and satisfy both worlds.
Sure.
People who just want to put stuff out, and they can try all they want, but at the end of the day, even though they're the last person to admit it, they can't cut the mustard and they can't do the quality stuff. Like we have with our artists, right? Spending all this money, At the end of the day, dude, you can't rap. I mean, that's just what it is. But that doesn't mean you can't put your stuff out on TuneCore, CD Baby, and all that kind of stuff. True. DistroKid.
Yep.
But you ain't getting signed for a major distribution deal. Right. You see what I'm saying? So I do like that. They do give both people avenues to put their content out, except, someone's just going to be for the free tier. And you got the upper echelon, and now the doors are open. So I'm excited about it. Now, we'll see what it does.
The one thing that I love about it is the DVR function, because I like to record crap when I can't watch crap.
Absolutely.
So I can come back and catch it later. And I don't have to do it on the machine. It's out there, so I can access it wherever. What do you think is going to happen from a legal standpoint? Now, obviously, it's going to be in the contract, but just how do you think it's going to be structured with allowing Johnny on an airplane to DVR a small content creator who has made it to the YouTube TV's platform? Okay. Because once I DVR that content, I, in essence, have a copy of it now.
Right.
So for legal reasons and ownership and then redistribution stuff, what do you think is going to happen from? Why are you laughing? I just want to.
It's going to be the same thing that happened when we used to copy VHS tapes, or when we DVR movies now, VHS. And the big old FBI thing is like, it is unlawful, and Muggs was like, I mean, that's going to have to be something to be, and that's actually a whole other issue that we need to talk about.
The back end legal aspect of
ownership of content.
Oh,
because, and matter of fact, let's talk about that. We definitely need to do that on the episode. We'll sidebar that because we need to talk about that. Like, who owns the content, and the people who own the platforms. Technically, do they have control? And but that's where all that will go. Because for one, you can say licensing issues, sure.
Yeah.
But that may be a thing where I mean, I don't know how they'll control that with DVR because that's what we ran into with problems with music with Napster.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's
that would be a tough one.
Because you've got some other things that are involved with it now, too, where, you know, a lot of platforms want a piece of it. I mean, record labels are doing it. And we own so much of what you do. We want a piece of merch. We want a piece of all of everything.
Right.
So when you make it to these platforms, and I don't know how YouTube TV is structured with content creators right now, but are they actually saying if you make it to our platform, we own 15% of whatever this is? I don't know.
You know the answer to that is subscription.
Sure.
That's the thing. Because at the end of the day, and this is my fault, because just because you DVR something, it's not the same as copying the VHS.
It's not, no.
Because when you copy the VHS, you own that copy. DVR, you still don't own it. You just have access to it. Right. And they can completely control what you can and what you can't. If they wanted to. And no, if they completely can encode what can and cannot be DVR'd if they wanted to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
you just got folks out there like me that do things for a living. That our job
jailbreaks.
Our job
look, there's always a way around everything, okay?
Sure.
But at the end, but for the most part, those will be the things that they'll look at. But that's why we have subscription.
Yeah, I've seen
give people like constant access, but we're still making money regardless.
Yeah.
And they have to keep coming back if they want to keep watching. So
the thing with the subscriptions, and I mean, we got to talk. The subscriptions is something else we got to get into at some point, because the ownership of being able to have access and that access being able to be turned off if you're on a different subscription tier.
To my point,
it's gotten to a crazy point in itself. But with those problems being issues in the past, you mentioned Napster and what happened with all that stuff, and even all the way back to the VHS thing. Tackling it the question was more so, what would you consider a creative, forward-thinking way to handle that?
The DVR issue?
Yeah. I mean, just that, but I mean, just distribution in general. Because if one person can stream it, I can pipe that to just about wherever I want to get it piped to. And that's obviously an issue for streaming platforms as it is, which is why Netflix came up with that thing of you got a max of this many things, and then we're going to start charging you for more people to sign in.
I was just going to say, it's really going to come down to the encoding still. You know what I mean? It really is. It's just like we do for MP3s. You know what I mean? And Apple's the master of it. You can't download crap from Apple. Like you have to do like a recording. Like even just on this most basic level on an iPhone, if you play a song from your Apple Music, you can't screen record that. Right. So there'll be limitations like that. Again, there's always ways to come around. You're always going to have developers that are coming up with different hacks around things, but it's not like that's so easily accessible. So for the most part, you know, when you go into making music and making albums, record labels already know we're going to lose X amount of money. These are acceptable losses. We'll just call them the cost of doing business. There's going to be leaks and all this kind of stuff, promos, things we got to give away for free. We're going to lose X amount of dollars. It's going to be, it's no different with digital stuff. We realize that for piracy and all this kind of stuff, we are accepting the fact that there might be a 15% loss margin here. But so we're just doing everything off the 85%. So there's going to be something like that. I don't think there's really a way around crime at the end of the day. So look, we want to hear what y'all thinking about, because obviously this is something that's new, it's coming about and still being figured out. There may be a genius out there watching this and you guys like, nah, you guys don't understand. Woody, 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 woo.
Very possible.
You know what I mean? So
a lot of the things I'm thinking about is just based on the money side of it. Like and I'm pretty sure I can get access to it to see how they break down the contracts and stuff. But like with the sports that they stream, the TV contracts and how that money gets divvied up, especially for college sports, for whoever's streaming what in what region and where that money goes to which conference. I don't know how that's actually affected within what YouTube TV does and how they break that money out of my $80 a month or whatever the heck it is that I'm paying.
The moment we entered the digital age, it's all become we're all walking around with our skivvies down at the end of the day, potentially with the potential to be violated. So that's just the world we live in.
Have you tried it yet?
Walking around my skivvies now?
No, I know you've done that. Have you tried YouTube TV?
Stone? Oh, I'm on YouTube TV.
You're on it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Definitely cut the cord, a little while ago. Tashi doesn't watch live TV, but I like it. I like it when I have the option to watch live TV when I need to watch it. So yeah, I'm on YouTube TV, absolutely. As always, give us your thoughts, you guys. We want to hear what you think, your comments and stuff like that. Teach us something if you got something to teach us. You can do that at lifeonpodcast.com.
Mainly, if you are a content creator and you're thinking about moving to YouTube TV, given that the platform is structured slightly differently, if you know what the percentages of what content creators are going to receive from the subscriptions that are paid
I don't
to
even
it.
think they have that hashed out yet.
They haven't done. They haven't.
I don't think they even have that hashed out
Okay,
yet.
that's what I'm really interested in finding out. Is how they're breaking down that money. If they're doing it based off of this is how many people watched it, so you get the percentage.
Yeah,
of
I would think it would be like a deal by deal. A creator by creator,
okay.
Right? Like if you're coming in, like if I'm creating something new and it's dope, unproven, but it's dope.
Yep.
I do a deal. They might not give me the same as like a Jason, what's that guy, the comedian who does the filter on his face, and he's always talking, hey, Dad, they had Jesus playing on the team. They did. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Jason, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, Jason. Or even Reggie, like Reggie Kusoder, right?
Uh-huh.
They got millions, and right?
Sure.
They're probably not going to give us the same deal. So it will probably be that. But
Okay.
if you got thoughts on it, we want to hear it. LifeOnPodcast.com,
Yes.
StoneStafford.com for anything that's dealing with me.
Same as always for me, just Johnny Vaughn, JUSTJONYVAN.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all. Please like, subscribe. I know people say it all the time, like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But honestly, if you genuinely like us, it's such a free way of saying, hey, I like y'all. It's literally free. Costs you nothing but a click. So just go ahead and click and like
Send
and
it to your
subscribe.
people.
We appreciate it, y'all. We are out. We love you. Peace. What's up, friends, family, and fans? Welcome to Life on Podcast. This is where we listen and inspire friends in entertainment.
And everywhere.
That's right, because life happens to everyone. I am your host, Stone Stafford.
I'm the other guy, Johnny Vaughn.
And together, we are
Captain
Frickin' Frack.
Planet. Wait.
Frickin' Frack Jenkins.
By your powers combined, Frickin' Frack Jenkins.
So we appreciate you guys, man, being here. If this is your first time checking us out, welcome. Hopefully somewhere along here you're like, man, this is actually pretty good. And if you get that little feeling, that warm feeling, go ahead and hit that like and hit subscribe. And if you're returning and you haven't hit like or subscribe, you're slacking right now. Okay, you're slacking right now. I'm talking to you like your Uncle Stone. You're slacking right now. Nah. But anyway, so look, we're going to talk about something that is, so we're in the age now of just content creation. I think we recently talked about the YouTubeTV app.
Yes.
Matter of fact, I know we did because I think I actually had on the same sweatshirt in that app, if I'm not mistaken. This is my favorite sweatshirt right now. So if y'all might see like 10 episodes where I'm wearing this joint, I just love it that much. But anyway, so the whole content thing. So the reason why I think it's a crazy time that we're in is I just watched something, a meme or a post. Gosh, it was it was Dak Prescott, and Dak was like, "Yeah, right now, I'm just not really, playing great, and I know I could be better. Why I'm not better, I'm not sure, but they're still going to pay me because I made a very big check." And so he's going on, and at first you're like, what? Yeah. And it got so ridiculous what he was saying. You're like, okay, that's not Dak.
It was AI.
So AI is getting so much better with the lips, because it used to be the lips. That was a calling card, because they was like, you think you can beat me? You can beat me. But now that joint is synced up.
No, it's almost spot on.
So, but that's an issue. It's a big issue, because now there truly is a question of what is right, what's true, what's fake.
Most of that stuff's falling under parody right now, though. I think it's how they're skirting
right now,
a lot of it.
because it's so new. And so my point is, because now you're talking about ownership. So now we have likeness. Now we have sound, like your voice, because you can now obviously mimic, celebrity voices.
Right.
So we're getting into all that kind of stuff. And where is the power going to lie? Like, at the end of the day, who is going to be truly owning all that data and all that content?
That is so easy.
It's
President Donald Trump.
Why do you say that? I don't know why you say that. Where did that come from?
Dude, there is a dystopian thought process that everything is going to fall under eminent domain, and the government is going to be able to say we own anything, and it's going to go from it just being land usages and property to it being you as an individual. And the reason why I say that is because we saw Hollywood attempt to do that. Like they once they scanned your body one time and got the 3D, they wouldn't bring their extras back, and then they would 3D generate all the crap, and that was a big issue during the strikes. And And I have a feeling that the machine is going to win that battle in the long term.
Okay.
And in user ownership is going to fall to government bodies at some point, is what I see it, is that we're going to just be dumping content. We'll have access to the part we created, but there will be a giant tank that everything goes into, that if you want it to be out there and accessible to other people, we own 80% of it in order for you to do that.
Now, so if I were to follow that trend over the next 100, 200 years or whatever, if we're still around, eventually the originals are all but gone.
It will be gone.
And you're dealing with, so that's crazy. You know what? Oh my gosh.
Oh, this is a.
You know what that brings to mind?
Rabbit hole can.
Only because you had already said Trump. You know what that brings to mind? Is this dude? So right now, and look, this isn't conspiracy theory. Like I'll pull up clips that aren't AI, right? Everywhere from the whole Project 2025 with wanting to revamp or get rid of Department of Education or whatever, to Trump literally saying, if schools teach African American history and specifically slavery and things like that, that he will pull their funding.
Yep.
So right there, you are now trying to customize American history, which is a problem because now that everything is digitized, right? Everything is being done and making history now.
Sure.
We have digital records of. Kind of, right?
There's another problem with that too, and don't forget where you are. But I'm gonna throw this out for that purpose.
That is.
Yeah. Think back to the Super Bowl when Alicia Keys was performing.
Okay.
And live, that note cracked. But then 24 hours later, if
that
you
note was
didn't,
fixed.
that whole performance was fixed. And that's the thing there too, is that do we even have the ability to maintain a record of original creations anymore at this point?
That's my point.
Okay.
Because right now, it'll literally take an act of someone going there and just destroying all physical records in order to completely get rid of the fact of African American roles and even just minorities, Chinese, Native Americans in their role of American history. To me, it just, oh gosh, don't get me on this rabbit trail because I don't want to go on it, but just the fact that you want to just take away things that are part of American history because it makes some people feel uncomfortable. It's just there are things in life you just can't wrap your brain around.
You can't.
And for people to accept that is one of those things I can't wrap my brain around. Unless you're not a minority.
Have you ever heard of the Library of Alexandria? That was fun.
The Library of Alexandria?
The Library of Alexandria?
No, but I mean...
No? It's one of the greatest record-keeping institutions in the history of the world.
Makes sense.
Information from everywhere, every culture from around the world was kept there, and it was burned to the ground. Well, some people say that we lost almost 80% of all human records when that library was set ablaze.
I believe it.
If that happened then, it could absolutely 100% happen now because it's easier to do now. Then you had to set physical fires to stuff.
Yeah, no, seriously. But that's such a danger. I was watching this guy. I wish I could remember his name, but he did a talk with Billy Carson. And he was debunking a lot of stuff that Billy Carson was saying. And, Tyson loves Billy Carson. Yeah. But
I'm a fan, too. I'm not going to pretend like I'm not.
I don't dislike him, but he was debunking. So Billy was saying how, there's actually historical documents that actually shows that, Jesus was married and then the crucifixion actually never happened and da-da-da. And so he was referring to the book of, not Barabbas, I think it's Barnabas.
Okay.
I think that's the right name. I'm disclaiming that I might be saying the right name, but I think it was the book of Barnabas. But anyway, the guy, the scholar, he was, but that's what Billy was basing those facts on. And, when Billy says stuff, he says it like it is law. He was like, and the guy was like, well, actually, it's been proven more times than many that book is a fraud, is forgery. Yep. It's forged and this and that. And Billy was like, well, I can accept that. I was like, well, Negro, you got to accept it if it's true. Now, I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet. So I'm only just trusting what this guy says.
Sure.
But should he be correct?
Right.
Right.
I like that. Should he be? Right?
Should he be correct? This is where we are,
Yeah.
and we're going to go back. And I'm not going to go back, and I'm not going to spend time on have people don't do their own research and do their own stuff like that. But that's so important because in this age right now. Truly, like what you said, we're gonna lose the original documents and the original stories and libraries of stuff that happened to where you can have a president come in and say this is the new American history, and then from that point forward, this is what kids grow up in and knowing. And so it brings up the question of ownership, especially where content is concerned. Like, do you actually? Because I think people are going to get having access. 24/7 access, get that confused with owning something. Yeah. And there's a big difference. Like with CDs, you bought the physical property. Mm-hmm. You owned it. Mm-hmm. Whatever happened with that physical CD was completely of your doing and authority or whatever you want to call it. But now that we're in the digital space, now you're listening to things on Apple Music, Spotify, da-da-da. Question then, what happens if Apple Music like, you know what, we decided that black people with beards, we don't want them playing our stuff. Well, where'd your ownership go?
It went away. It's just like when Apple said we're going to put U2 on everybody's phones, and you had no say in that happening.
Ooh, I mean, that's a lot of people off.
I was one of them. You absolutely lose saying it. I mean, I jokingly say we've been living in the council times. You know about that got together and decided what was in the Bible and took stuff out, put stuff in. That was I think the first time we had an effort in our age to rewrite history and rewrite what truth was. And you had a group of people dictating what everybody accepted as truth. At this point now, when it comes to content and ownership of any of that stuff, that's exactly what's happening. I can absolutely 100% see one day where every content creator is just a work for hire for platforms.
Yep.
So where everything you do, you'll get a flat fee for it. And then in perpetuity, they'll get royalties off of everything you do.
Right.
And I mean, we've seen semblances of that in different mediums already, but that I can absolutely see it becoming the standard.
That in almost every rap record deal.
Yeah.
And I just say hip hop because for some reason, we have chosen to be some of the most ignorant demographic in music industry where the business is concerned. Just by the numbers. This isn't Stone's opinion.
No,
just by the numbers. Black music, and then more recently hip hop or rap. Yeah. That genre have chosen to just willingly be the most ignorant cross section of people in the music business.
It is a sad truth. And I mean, when it comes down to, ownership of content, and I mean, not even just that, the platforms themselves, like. And applications. This is when I was a mix engineer. Like you can't own Pro Tools anymore. Like
right? Oh yeah. I've hated it when subscription became the thing.
It's everything is subscribed to. Like even now, I've got a production coming up where I'm leaving for DC soon. And on this production, I'm the white space communications coordinator. So I'm handling RF coordination, radio frequency coordination for everything. So I've got 250, 300 channels of different communication that have to happen. And the source that they wanted to use on this event is a platform called Soundbase. Now, Soundbase is super cool. It allows you to collaborate with people. It's cloud-based, so it's all online. And it's fun, but it's $400 a year to do that. Where I have 4 other applications that I've bought and paid for that are on various computers that I've been using for years that still do the job perfectly fine. But because they want to collaborate with what I'm doing, I'm forced now to pay this subscription fee to have access to this thing that my client wants to use. Now they're going to be paying for it because they're getting their crap bill back. But still, it's on my computer, but I don't own it. And if I don't pay that $400 next year, I no longer have access to it till I give them that money again. Where I have
control. There's no control.
And that's it. You lose. And I hate this. I don't like to use the term control, but I mean, in essence, that's actually
exactly what it is. Let me ask you this question then. You may or may not know the answer, so just give me an opinion.
Okay.
With that, so most successful entrepreneurs, and especially people who are groundbreaking, when everyone's going left, what do?
Right.
They go right.
Yeah, you trailblaze.
So now that everything is going through subscriptions, what do you think will happen to a company that offers products for true ownership, going back to that? Do you think they would prosper, or do you think they'd be drowned out because that's not the way things are happening anymore?
I think it depends on what market and medium it is.
Okay.
If it's cars, for instance, because you got subscription-based stuff built into every new car now. But some of those platforms are staying away from partnering with those to where when you buy that thing, you have that platform at you. Now, that's a big expense.
Yeah.
But in those situations, I think that they're going to still prosper because if, let's say subscription fee is a lease, honestly. That's really what it would be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you have the option to do both, and then they tier it, which some people are doing that. The sound-based thing that I said, they have an option to have it outright, but it's limited.
Right.
So they try to coerce you into buying the full-out subscription and being a part of that ecosystem.
Right.
I think that we're going to see a hybrid model of that, where companies that give you the option to still own it outright, sans a few features, they're going to prosper because most people are like, I don't really need that anyway. It's usually the extra stuff that you don't need to go above and beyond to have.
You did bring up a good point, though, that I didn't think about is the ecosystem that product is in. If it's so reliant on the engine to work, then you have no choice but to have to subscribe. So yeah, there's almost like the Sony thing, how they made the radio, but then they were like, well, might as well make the music that plays on the radio. So you almost have to own both things. Say like Canva, for example, with something like that, I think that should and could absolutely be something that you own.
It could.
That doesn't have to be a subscription service. You know what I mean? I love Canva, by the way.
Same.
I do hate that I have to subscribe for it, though. I'm not going to lie. So something like that, I get it. Maybe a Spotify or music, I guess I can get that because then you lose such abilities as creating a playlist of other songs that sound like this and you lose those abilities. I get that. So you're absolutely right. I think just depending on what avenue you do that in, it may work to own, may work to subscribe. But so what do we do then, right? So when you have the ability to alter digital content so much to the point where even archival material is at risk now.
Right.
You have this ability to alter digital material. How do we balance that from the original creativity to the new creation that came out of altering it, right? How do you balance that, and what are some of the things we can put into place to, like I said, I think a podcast before is like you can never stop crime per se.
Yeah.
But what can we do to mitigate it?
So this is one of those things that I don't talk about it much anymore because the hype of it died down, but I'm still heavily into this world. Blockchain is what's going to do that. When you have immutable points of creation that show this is an original, and then you've got consensus points that are confirming that, that'll be where you can tell what it is. I mean, NFTs were doing that when they had that big boom of it. The gorilla NFTs, as ridiculous as they were,
Right.
there was a record of its original creation. Now the value going to whatever it went to, that's one thing.
And it couldn't be altered.
No, but it could not be changed. Right. You could see who the creator was, creator hold ownership until they made a transaction on the blockchain where they received whatever token they received for it, and then ownership for that NFT went to someone else. That's going to be the future of how we figure out how to do it. It's just that it's in its infancy to the point to where we're not actively using it to do that. So we're going to have this ghost period, and I don't know how long that's going to be.
Do you think a blockchain can be used as, for lack of a better, as a cloud drive?
Absolutely, no question.
So then we take stuff that's archived now,
and which is already happening,
and upload that to the blockchain.
Yeah, a lot of it is actually being moved over already, and I mean that's what, like, the tokenization of assets is what that does. It's taking the things that we have in file cabinets and
digital file cabinets too.
Yeah,
right.
And putting them in a place where
they can't be altered.
They cannot be changed. And there is either I mean, you've got the proof of work, proof of stake, and then consensus. I feel hashing is also a very successful method of doing it too, where they break down the elements into shards and they're stored in different places.
Oh, okay.
So those different shards hold a very specific amount of information of the original or of anything, and then it has to reference all of those to piece together what the actuality of the
So basically, we need to upload the Emancipation Proclamation into blockchain before Trump, or worse, Vance, come up with that never happened. We have no record that y'all were actually set free. We have no record of that.
It's there. I promise you, it's already there.
Yo, we're laughing, but I'm not even kidding. Look, this isn't. If I say something about Trump, right? It's only because he has said and done things to make himself the recipient of these thoughts.
Sure.
It's not that I'm just hating on just to hate on him or just like, I don't like him. Blah, 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 blah. No, it's because he has said things and done things that make him worthy of these thought processes. And so when I say I wouldn't put something like that past that administration, I literally mean that ish. Because on one hand, if you're going to sit there and say, well, you can't teach certain elements of Black history as part of American history, that's American history. So if you're willing to say that, how is it that I'm so out of line to think, I'll tell you what, why don't we just get rid of the Emancipation Proclamation altogether? To me, that's not so far-fetched. It might be ridiculous. It might be like, okay, that's extreme, but it's not impossible. I wouldn't put it past someone that thinks like that. Anyway, I want to get back on
there have been statements that the former and future president have made about altering the Constitution itself. So the Emancipation Proclamation falls under that same kind of vein. So you're not,
it's like the sneaky thing they did with the 13th Amendment, but we're not going to.
You're not off. You're not off kilter for saying what you're saying. But I've been a huge supporter of blockchain for almost a decade now, and I think that that's going to be where we'll have to go in order to have those records. But like I said, I do feel like there's going to be a window, and I'm hoping it's only a few years.
Yeah.
But it's very it's possible a few years could be 50 or 100 years in the grand scheme of human history.
Absolutely.
When we talk about
absolutely.
it.
I think there's definitely one thing that can happen that should. It's like even now how they have AI that detects when you've used AI.
Right.
That absolutely needs to become a norm. 100%.
Yeah, it
and there's actually a school. And if I thought of this earlier, I would have been prepared with the information, but it just popped into my brain. But there is a school. They literally have a class or a course that teaches students how to detect deepfake.
Really?
Absolutely 100%.
Okay.
That needs to become a norm.
I'm curious to know how they would keep up with the technology because of how fast it's progressing.
You have to be as fast.
But they're training those students to work for the CIA and the DEA. That's absolutely the only reason you get trained into that is to go work for the government. You looking it up right now?
Yep.
I'm curious to know what it is too. Now, the problem I see with that gap, that window of us not having that record, is that who establishes that record once we find our new system of keeping track of what original content is?
Oh my gosh. Right.
And
exactly. It's kind of like the criminals writing the crime laws.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a concern of mine because at that point you have a lot of people who aren't creatives who can easily say, well, creators have always been just work for hire. And you've never gotten a percentage of anything. And then, you're going by stories that were passed down by fireside chats to remember that, your work is actually valuable. So I'm concerned about that for the future. We're going to live through it over the next decade, and it's going to be extremely uncomfortable because a lot of especially the next 6 years, it's going to be uncomfortable to really see now, not just things of creation and content that of who holds the ownership of it, but public use stuff,
right?
And who has access to those kind of things. It's going to be things that have been normal for us to have access to are not going to be public. Yeah. Did you find what you're looking?
It's scary. No, I can't find the specific one, but it was a news clip that I watched.
Okay.
It's a news. And like regular network news.
Okay.
It was on a class and they were teaching these kids how to do that. So maybe it was just that one school and maybe they were trying a pilot thing out. So I do want to disclaim that it's not a norm thing, but I watched with my own eyes.
We find a link. We'll tag it to this video so you can see it.
If I find it in time, yeah, for sure. Or y'all can do the work yourself. Now that
y'all like it when y'all,
now that you have the information,
come to the episode and the stone put you to work.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, you better know how to fish than to just keep eating fish somebody gives you. But yeah, so this is going to be a very interesting time that we're in, but it really does bring into the question of what you own and what you have access to. So I don't know. As always, we want to know you guys' thoughts about it. How do you feel? Are you scared? Are you excited? Or what?
It is what it is. Get with it, get left behind. That's kind of where we are.
It really is. There's no thing. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's
going to be ruled by it.
I don't know if there's much we can actually do about it because it's a lot of. Napster tried to fight it by making things peer to peer and sharing it, and we had a time where it was a good thing. And then that was snuffed out.
Right.
And then we've seen other branches of that kind of thing come out of that. But every time it seems like when the machine realizes that the person can make money off of it,
they want to step in.
They insert themselves into it relatively quickly, and then that spark of ingenuity goes to the wayside, and it becomes another cog. So
Right.
I don't know what the catalyst will be to making it to where ownership is a fair thing. And I hate to say that because
it's gonna be horrible. I mean, because because some of the things that should happen is like transparency, right? Mm-hmm. When products and stuff come out, that you should see what the companies do with your data, right. And quite frankly, you should have the right to say, I don't want you to have my data. I should be able to sign up with this without you having all this data, turn off location service. You should have a right to do all that kind of crap. The reason why you won't, well, I feel you'll never have that right is because that's how they make their money.
Absolutely.
As soon as they can predict where you're going to be, what you're going to say, what you're going to buy, and go ahead and stream you this way and stream you that way. I mean, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. We close it out. I keep sidebarring into this crap. This is why I can't wait till election season's done. Well, we're done, but
it's over
be
now.
out of it.
You're the Harper.
What's funny is, now listen to what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Because a lot of people aren't going to like it.
Okay.
Because it's going to make them feel out of control.
Okay.
I don't have a percentage, so I won't put a percentage on it. But there are millions of you who think you actually chose who you voted for. And you were influenced to vote who you voted for. There was a experiment. No, it wasn't an experiment. It was a movie where this guy wanted someone to place a bet on a certain football team. And so throughout the day, they were hit with subliminal suggestions. They saw, it had the bet on a player.
Yeah, Will Smith was in that movie.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, he was. Yeah.
Exactly.
And he
Thank
explains to the girl how he did it throughout
What
the
was
whole
that
day.
movie?
I can't remember what it was called.
Oh my gosh.
I remember the
type
player,
in Will Smith
though.
movie as I explain
Yeah,
what
I remember the
happens.
player, though.
Look.
Because the dude was wearing number 55 in
Number
green or something
55.
like that.
And so they needed this person to bet on number 55 in some way, shape, or form. So throughout, and it was a high roller gambler. And so throughout the day, the number 55 was subliminally constantly injected in this guy. And he didn't realize he was seeing it.
It was on Focus. That's
Focus.
what it was.
It was
Yeah.
on Focus.
I never
It's called
remember the name
Focus,
of it.
the movie Focus. And so he would see 55 on a balloon, and someone would like, he'll get in a cab and someone would get in with him. Can I share this ride? He'd be like, yeah, fine. All right, take me to 55th Street, stuff like that. It was all these things. So then when he got to the game and they had this, and they drove up the numbers and finally said, eventually the guy bet on 55 and he thought he made that choice on his own, but he didn't. And I'm telling you right now, though so many of you don't want to believe it, you voted for who you voted for along those same lines. And know what? And that the way to get out of that is to study for yourself. I was going to say this the other day. I'm going to close it with this. I was going to say this in one of the podcasts. If y'all want to continue following what's going on in the world even, but let's stick with politics, right? This is what you do. First of all, go to congress.gov and also go to whitehouse.gov. All right? Get your information straight from there first and foremost. Second, when you're looking at posts and memes and reading articles, when they use, I forget the word for it, is it modal verbs or mutal verbs? It's stuff like blah, blah, blah suggests, da, 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 da can be, da, 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 da could mean. Those kind of verbiage. I forget what it's called.
Modal verbs.
Modal verbs. Yeah. When you see those, do not read the article because they're opinions. All right. Only read stuff that says imminent or will happen or is scheduled or has been done or is going to do, like actual factual stuff. Read those. But when you read all the other stuff, a lot of it is clickbait. A Donald Trump presidency could lead to boom, boom, boom. Don't even read the article. All right. Because what the human brain does, it takes modal verbs and it transposes them into facts. And that's how you now start thinking things that aren't. That's what fear is, right? False evidence appearing real. It's essentially a modal verb. But those are the headlines that we follow. And then you say what you say, believe what you believe, and vote for what you vote. based off of modal verbs. So if you truly want to be in tune on what to look for and what to act on, if you did this for the next 4 years, you will be surprised probably how you'll vote in the next presidency. Unless you're just so stagnant where you're like, I just vote red. I don't care if Luke the Killer is running. He's red. And there are people like that who are out there ignorantly. That's what I wanted to say in the other podcast, but I forgot.
Okay. Well, we're not going to cut this and snip it because that's up.
No. This is why you listen to each episode so that you're always in tune.
Yeah, we have running themes. That's what we do. Running themes here.
Yo, anything else from you?
No, I'm done.
I got one more thing.
What's that?
LifeOnPodcast.com. All right. That's where you find everything. You can watch us. You can listen to us. You can subscribe. You can share comments. You can email us directly. Whatever it is you want to do concerning Life on Podcast, go to LifeOnPodcast.com. As far as me, Stone Stafford, is concerned, any and everything concerning me, you can go to StoneStafford.com.
Just Johnny Von, JUSTJONYVAN on stuff.
Yo, that's all we got. Hopefully it was informative. If it was and you liked it, and you know what, you guys sound like you knew what you was talking about. Like, subscribe, and share with a friend. If you want to turn the little bell thingy off, turn it off. But just subscribe. It's all good. You don't have to know we're there. I mean, it would behoove you to know that we're there.
But if you were to turn that bell thing off, it could lead to you missing some information.
Good information. So I don't know. It's up to you.
Either
you want to live and prosper, or you just want to die and dry. All right, we out. We love you. Thanks for watching. Peace.